So, this is Nothing Coherent.
I'm Brand.
And I'm Ryan.
And I'm Zach.
Welcome to our 25th show.
What an awful
way
transaction.
to start this episode. We were just shooting the breeze. I didn't think we were transitioning that hard.
Anyway, so we'll talk about Joker today.
Yeah.
But that'll be our big topic. I know everyone's had a bit of a long week, but
Yeah, a little
you
bit.
guys been playing or watching?
Okay, so I told Brandon this before Ryan got here. I was playing Fallout 4, but I wasn't playing the actual Fallout game.
This is our 25th reference to Fallout.
No, what I did was
There's no way it's that low.
in the game, like they have these holotapes where you can play like old arcade games, and they have one that's like Donkey Kong Country, called Red Menace that I played, and I played that for like 4 hours because I was like, I really want to play Donkey Kong. I don't have Donkey Kong, and I was like, wait a second, Fallout 4 has Donkey Kong, so I did that.
Then he played Donkey Kong here.
And then I played Donkey Kong
and
here.
proved that he is no good at it.
I'm trash at Donkey Kong, apparently. Cause
Actually, every game that we just watched you play.
Yeah, you couldn't win against the Yankees in...
No, I was the Yankees.
The original MLB The Show.
Yeah, in baseball.
So, the Switch has their NES games, right?
Well, they have their NES and SNES games.
Right.
If you have the online service.
Right. So, I was just like, while we were just sitting around here just waiting to get started, I just was like, I'm going to play a few of these games just to, like, see if I want to download the NES thing, because I haven't really done that yet. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to play pro wrestling. Lost both matches. Came really close to winning that second one, though.
You come closer.
Once I started to get the controls down a little bit, I did okay. Starman was definitely better than Hayabusa, that's for sure. And I enjoyed that quite a bit, actually. I might play it some more. But the cream of the crop.
You also played Punch-Out and lost to Glass Joe.
I did
kind
lose
of
to
upset
Glass
about
Joe. But I told you going into it, I hadn't played that game in like 15 years.
that. Yeah, okay. Well.
I don't remember anything about it.
No excuses, Zach.
Hey, you want to go? Let's go boot up. Punch Out right now. We'll have a real Punch Out right here in the studio.
Anyway,
insult me again.
You also played...
I played baseball. That was the real gym. I was not doing anything, just waiting for the ball to be thrown, and the players were just running around doing their own thing.
Well, and you somehow had the guy on second run back to first,
Just like,
which got you an out.
It got me 2 outs. 2 outs. I'm just like, this is not good. I was just like, this is worse than when I played baseball. Because I was not good at baseball, but I was not that bad.
Let's look at the controls for baseball and NES while you're talking.
Okay, you go right ahead.
Yes.
It didn't make any sense to me. Therefore, it's not a good game. But if we ever end up getting our streaming stuff set up for Nothing Coherent, I'm playing Brandon in NES baseball.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take Ryan on in MLB The Show and get
Actually,
murdered. Get murdered.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I haven't really done much. I actually just went and bought Spider-Man Far From Home today. So after we record today, I'll probably watch that again because Spider-Man.
There are a lot of controls.
Really?
Yeah.
It's that complicated for an NES game?
Kind of. So,
Yeah,
like,
see?
yeah, like you move the D-pad to pick which player while they're on a base. So you can keep running, but if you don't hit a button, it'll just manually run. So...
Nope, don't like that.
It's easy, dude.
It makes sense, though. I mean, like, if you think about
It does,
You
but
have to
like
be able
they
to
didn't.
direct which
they
one.
didn't.
Yeah.
The problem is they didn't have like a controls screen that I could.
Well,
look at.
they did. It was on the... We had to press pause and go to
I
it.
actually wonder if it sounds kind of similar to MLB The Show.
Well, I mean, the foundations were built on the NES. NES
baseball
NES
didn't-
baseball
no.
walked so MLB The Show could run.
No baseball existed before NES baseball.
Yeah.
That's where it was actually made by whoever made that
Nintendo.
game is what really
Created
started
Major
baseball.
League Baseball.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, baseball went on strike in the 80s, so NES baseball brought it
it
back.
saved
Yeah.
baseball and recreated it. The
And pro
rules,
I
wrestling.
think
the
that
rules.
NES was like back in the 1876 when baseball was originally.
Well, so
I
here's-
don't know about that. I haven't heard of anything about baseball prior to 1981.
Well, so here's the thing. Reggie Fils-Aimé, before he retired, took a time machine back in time with a TV and an NES and showed people how to play baseball.
No, Babe Ruth himself came down from the heavens
With
with
an
an NES, and he took it back to the 1880s, and he commanded them all to learn the game, and then he went to Japan and showed it to them too. And that's where Nintendo was born. Because Nintendo's like a really old company, actually. Now that I
Yeah.
think about
Thank
it.
you, Babe Ruth.
Don't they also... I know they owned part of the Dolphins, but I think they also own part of the
Yeah.
baseball team.
They own a lot of stuff.
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Well, the Dolphins are going for sale, or like, I don't think Nintendo. owns the
Nintendo
Dolphins.
Oh,
is the Disney of Japan.
What do you think about it? I thought they owned it. Nintendo did own it.
Venus and Serena Williams just bought part of the Dolphins,
Nintendo.
like literally like a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Football.
Anyway, I'll move on to what I've been watching. Big week in pro wrestling. I talked about it a little bit last week. I will probably talk about wrestling a little bit each week now because I'm actually going to try to keep up with it because I think it's really cool that there's like an actual competitor for WWE now. I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the new show AEW, and I was really impressed with it. I thought the actual sport of it like looked really good. The production value was actually really high. Like they're taking this serious, you know. Like it's a big scale. They sold out like a 14,000 seat arena, which is huge because like only WWE does numbers that big, unless you're over in Japan and like the Tokyo Dome. Like it was a really cool thing to see that like wrestling is finally getting the attention that it deserves again because I was still a fan and kept up with it, but I haven't really felt the urge to watch it. But now that I'm like, whoa, there's something else out there, like it's getting me excited to watch both. And like I've kept up with like who like the current stars are and stuff, and it's really fun. I need to still watch SmackDown. I know that it's going to be uploaded to Hulu later today.
The one from Friday night?
Yeah. It's usually like the next day or the day after that, and so I'm going to check Hulu probably when I get home just to see if it's up so I can watch like The Rock and see the debut of Cain Velasquez because I think that's big news. I was just saying earlier, I've even heard rumors that they're trying to get Conor McGregor to do an appearance for like WrestleMania next year, which I think would be awesome. Because then, like, the more you integrate that stuff, the more it makes wrestling seem real, and that's what I think they need for their like mainstream appeal. But other than that, I haven't really done a whole lot. I mean, I wouldn't sell Joker, but that's our big topic
Yeah,
today, so I'm gonna wait.
Nintendo owns 10% of the Seattle Mariners.
Oh, okay.
That's the only sports team they still own. They sold off whatever their other team was, and I can't find the... I thought it was the Dolphins, but I might be wrong. So, but that also looked like they were trying to sell their 10% of the Mariners, so...
I wonder how much that would go for. 10% of a team. Probably a lot.
Probably at least a couple $100 million.
I was gonna say, yeah, like...
What if the team's bad?
Doesn't matter. The merchandise and all that. And...
Value's always going up, but like Mariners aren't a very good team Well, yeah, they're not really right now. So
I mean, like, take it from somebody who's never like watched sports. Like, I know of like certain teams because you just see them,
Yeah.
like all the time as gets up there, but I've never
Yeah.
never once have I seen their name.
They suck. They're like the Cleveland Browns of their sport.
But I at least know who the Cleveland Browns are.
Right, because
So-
of how bad they are.
So they've got to be like in that weird in between of where they're not.
They're not great, but they're not the worst thing
Yeah.
you've ever seen. It's kind of just forgettable, like Venom.
So Mariners' value is approximately $1.2 billion. I figure it's
That's
closer
what
to
I
$2
thought.
billion, so it's maybe $100
I would say,
to $150
well,
million.
if you're doing
Or 10%.
10%, yeah, somewhere in like
easy math.
120 million or
Yeah,
so.
it just depends on what the.
I wonder how much they paid for them.
Probably not that much.
seems they've owned them since, or been part of it, I think since the 90s.
Yeah, I was gonna say they've had a stock.
I'm sure
on
they
that
probably only
forever.
put $10 million or something.
And
like
it just
that in.
grew over time, yeah, because franchises got bigger and bigger.
Sports teams are the way to go. If you
They can
have
sell that to
billions of
help
dollars.
pay for part of a video game.
Yeah. They try to sell it to GameStop. Sorry, best we can do is $7.50.
I've been, okay, so a lot of my free time has gone to Breaking Bad.
Yeah, brother.
El Camino comes out next week. We're
Yep.
less than a week away now.
I'm so excited.
We are on the last 2 episodes
That's-
of the series.
Is that this Friday?
This Friday, yeah. So as soon as I get off work Friday morning, or you can stay up till 3 or 4 a.m. when it comes out.
I'll come over and watch it with y'all before work. 'Cause,
As long as I don't get off late.
yeah, that's probably true.
But, so we've been watching that. It's really fun to watch through it again.
Yeah.
It's been
Especially
nice,
watching it with somebody who hasn't seen it. That's
Yeah.
the big appeal.
because I get to watch it and then look at her and be like,
That's why I wish I could have been here for Ozymandias, because that entire episode is just so crazy.
yeah, the first half I feel like is the craziest part. Well, really, I think the last episode she knew, it came to her. She's
Yeah.
as soon as they roll up, she's like, they're gone.
I love the scene though when he's in the house and he's just throwing everything in the suitcases and he's like, we gotta go, and he's trying to kidnap baby Holly and is backing out of the driveway and stuff, and everything's just pure chaos at this point. It's reached its peak.
Yeah, well, when Finn stands up for Skylar, or when he stands up for his mom,
Yeah, and she cuts Walter with the knife and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, I legit thought when I first watched that episode, I was like, Walt's gonna kill her in self-defense, and realize that he just killed his wife. The first time that scene, that
or
shot,
kill Finn.
the shot where they're both flinging the knife, and you just see Finn standing in between the hands. I'm like, oh no, Flynn's about to just get stabbed. From the knife.
Well, you could see the panic on her face the entire time we were watching it.
Right, I was just like, oh my god, one of them's gonna die, and Walt's gonna be responsible for it. I was shocked that neither of them died in that. Just from him wrestling the knife from her, or the knife flinging into Walter Jr. That would have been heartbreaking.
There was a lot that was going to happen, and even watching it again, I was like, I don't think anything else happens.
No, but it's just the heightened sense of drama at that point, because you're you didn't think Hank was gonna die. At first, and then Walt calls the Nazis, and you're like, oh, well, these guys are clearly not just gonna...
Yeah, and you go back and forth in your head, well, will they go save Walt? Will they not?
Well, he said not for them to come.
Yeah, but you think about it, and Jack even says, he's like, Todd looks up to you.
Yeah.
Todd would never want anything to happen to you. And watching this again, I remember watching it the first time and hating Todd a lot.
Yeah.
Do I still hate Todd? Yes.
I haven't gotten to Todd yet, because,
I actually think he's another Jesse, but he's the ruthless version of Jesse.
Yeah,
Where
season 1 Jesse, but turned up to an 11.
Yeah, where I do kind of feel bad for him, but Todd is himself, that's what makes a good villain, is and that's what the show is, you're watching villains versus villains, except for, Hank, who was the good, and,
I would argue that even Hank at times can be a villain.
No, I wouldn't.
Not at the same extent as all those other guys.
At best case is an anti-hero.
Yeah,
That would be as far as I go. Hank has never done, except for punching Jesse.
Yeah, the stuff he did to Jesse I thought was wrong.
Hank has never done anything that
that he deserved.
a cop or a DEA agent wouldn't do. So he wasn't doing anything evil. Where Walt has done clear things for evil.
Right, I wouldn't say that Hank's a bad guy by any means, but I think in terms of all the characters, Hank's a little shady too in some parts.
But that's what makes a good
right.
Like Iron Man says in Age of Ultron, I don't trust a guy without a dark side.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes things good. But I've loved watching it again. I still stand by, and I guess the next 2 episodes could change my mind. I doubt it. But I still stand by. This is the best TV show ever made.
Yeah, it's so good. Ryan, thoughts on Breaking Bad?
Have you ever seen it?
It's a good show.
Okay. Are you excited for El Camino?
No.
He's never seen it.
Oh.
He's never seen Breaking Bad, and we just spoiled so much of it.
What? I've seen Breaking Bad. I watched it when I lived
Who
with
farted?
you.
I did.
Oh my gosh, I thought my dog pooped by the window. This Pongo keeps attacking the window behind us. Oh my gosh, it smells so bad, Zach.
Well, sorry. Sorry, boys.
Um,
It's never happened in the history of the show, alright?
First you throw up on the podcast, and 25 episodes later you
Hey,
fart.
whoa, that was never released.
But yeah, I also have been playing Ori and the Blind Forest because it came out on Switch.
Sounds fun.
It's really good. It's probably the best. I'm so sorry. It smells so bad. Oh, it sounds like an animal died in here.
Sorry.
It's a Metroidvania game. You can't open the door because Pongo's gonna freaking
Oh.
come here and
What about
attack
the
the window.
window?
Pong. Oh fuck. Yeah, open the window.
Let's just start that from the top.
Just start all
No,
over.
you gotta
throw this whole
leave
thing
Zach's
out.
fart in here where it ruins our.
Just start with your game title again.
So I've also been playing Ori and the Blind Forest. It's a great Metroidvania style game. It's a beautiful game to look at. It recently came out on Switch, and so that's why I've been playing it. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm about a couple hours in. I haven't gotten like crazy far. I know the game can be beaten in about 8, so I'm trying to just take my time with it because I want to enjoy the ride. It's interesting and weird because there are moments where you're like, well, I don't think I can get to that, but then you like just take a step back and try again. And you're like, oh yeah, I can. I've just got to do this instead of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really interesting. I think if you ever liked any kind of Metroidvania game,
Yeah.
you'd like it. And then played a little bit more Untitled Goose Game at this point. Not much more, but enough to get us to the next like section because you had to go back and
Get all the other stuff.
finish the rest of that. But I learned there's only one more section after this one, so really close to the end. I mean, like it could have been beaten in like 2 hours if we had just been smarter. So
Well, I think part of the appeal is just trying things out and just running around.
seeing what does and doesn't work and just
Yeah.
exploring the world. So I'm excited to finally. I want to beat that.
My favorite is when they put up the no goose sign. Like, what is that gonna do?
Every time, yeah.
I'm just like, I'm a goose. I don't care. Like,
It was fun. It was actually interesting to look at like the.
it's made me fall in love with geese,
Yeah, don't you? No,
and I don't
be
like it.
careful.
I don't like
The
it.
sales of the game though are super impressive because it's
Really?
like the #1 selling game on the Switch right now.
That's so funny to me.
Yeah, they were like caught off guard till 100,000 units
So they're like,
just on Switch
they're
in
like
like a couple days.
Sequel?
Untitled Goose Game 2,
Nintendo's like titled Goose Game.
Goose and Smash.
Goose for Smash would be S tier.
Besides that, I haven't done really a whole lot this week. I don't think. I went and bought Far From Home as well.
Yeah.
I waited till after the Sony deals announced, and then I was like, okay, and I ordered it from Amazon. I have the 4K one, and the cover still looks like crap.
Oh, the like one where his face is like
It's
right
the
on
half.
the side. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's like the really crappy Mysterio in the back.
I don't like
And
that
then the
case.
2 people in the window. It sucks because Boss Logic did it, and I really like Boss Logic's work.
Yeah.
But that case just.
I just really like the actual poster on like that they use for like the Blu-ray.
Well, I don't like that poster either, but I just
like
don't know
it
what you
more.
would have done. Even the freaking Steelbook looks atrocious. Like
Yeah.
I just don't know what went wrong here on their marketing team when they were putting this out.
They were like, we got to put all the characters on there.
I did watch part of Endgame again. I really wanted
I got
to.
Endgame today too, so I'm gonna probably watch that tonight when I get home.
Well, I really just wanted to watch Cap lifting the hammer, and then I ended up watching the entire last part of the movie. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, laying there, and I was like, I should turn this off.
You can't.
But I was like, well, but then I want to watch this moment. Well, what about when they hug? What about when he? Or so it was like, well, I want to see him get the hammer.
You can't just watch only one part of Endgame.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, I want to see him like see a symbol. And then I was like, well, but I want to see Spider-Man and Iron Man be back up. Then I want to see Captain Marvel come in.
I still get goosebumps at the portals opening up. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I've watched videos of memes of that now. My favorite one was the Area 51 meme. And it's like Captain America is Kyle, and when like he pulls up the hammer and he yells a symbol, it's a Monster Energy drink instead of the hammer. And like all of them are memes. Like there's like Harambe and
All the Karens
Pikachu
and all
and
that.
Karens and Naruto runners, and then whenever Ant-Man busts through the ceiling, it's Chuck Norris, and Thor is Keanu Reeves. I'm like, this is amazing.
I did watch one other thing. I was trying to think in my head. So I watched Between Two Ferns, the movie.
Okay.
I don't know if either one of you.
I still need to do that.
So
I really want to watch it.
So I have really mixed feelings on it.
Don't know what it is. So.
Do you not know what Between Two Ferns is?
No.
Zach Galifianakis.
Fernagus.
For whatever.
I think it's Galifianakis. Fernagus?
Zach Galifianakis. Atkins.
Zach Galifianakis.
Anyway, so he has an interview
Something like
series on Funny or Die.
Okay.
Well, it serves an internet video. It was like they're like
Sure.
4 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's basically super awkward interviews with celebrities.
Oh, okay.
Like kind of like Eric Andre.
Yeah.
But
I know
like,
about it.
Yeah.
It's just I.
Yeah, most of them don't like, especially at the beginning, don't realize it's like a
joke.
Well,
no, some of them like.
So I'm about to reveal something
Yeah.
that ruined Between Two Ferns for me. The ending of the movie confirms that they're all in on it. the entire time they rehearse all of these.
Yeah, the majority of it. So like Hillary Clinton goes on there and he like starts harassing her about like emails and stuff at the very end, and there's no way that was scripted.
It all is. It's all scripted.
Mm.
Yes, I promise you, because the movie at the end of it shows you they're like, it talks, so there's outtakes, and they're showing it, and it's like they've been doing outtakes for all of them, because they have to go in and get the celebrities to approve of these mean things he's saying, because he talks about how he hates doing this, and that was kind of, anyway, so let's talk about the movie real quick, and I'll talk about that, that's the problem. So like the movie ends, so the movie itself, it has 10 interviews with a bunch of different actors. There's like Keanu Reeves, Matthew McConaughey, Peter Dinklage, Brie Larson, Paul Rudd.
Okay.
Will Ferrell's in it, and they make fun of him a lot. He's he's not being interviewed, but they like keep making fun of like Will Ferrell just takes a bunch of comedy roles.
Yeah.
Makes him pay like $10 million for him to have small roles in their movies and the comedies just to get like his name on it.
Yeah.
So the movie itself, the interviews are funny. Those parts are good. There's a plot around it because the movie's like an hour and a half long of like leading the interviews, leading to each interview, and that plot itself isn't great because the whole idea of the movie is he wants his own late night talk show, and Will Ferrell tells him if you give me 10 more interviews, I'll get you your own talk show.
Okay.
And so the entire movie is him doing that. Like towards the end, it like literally towards the end they run out of steam, and it's like the same point when they run out of money. Because they steal from Peter Dinklage. Which they're like there's like Peter Dinklage like walking around his house.
This Lannister did not repay his debts.
Like showing he's like, here's this like priceless painting from the like 1800s and it's a bunch of LaCroix. And they're like, was LaCroix even around back then? He was like, yeah, it was called La Croix.
La Croix.
Or something like that. And I was like, that's kind of funny. But that was like the only scene that I was like, this is like, it got laughs from me.
Yeah.
Everything else, the interviews got laughs. But I was like, I don't know if watching this full movie was worth it. So the interview parts I think are good. Everything else, I don't know. I watched it. I did stop it about like 60 or about an hour in. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to finish this, and I went back and finished it, and so it's all right. I mean, I give it like a 6. It's worth it for the interviews, but I don't know if getting there is. The outtakes at the end are better than the rest of the movie. But that then itself, after finishing the outtakes, I was like, unless I find it hard to believe that all of these now are not scripted. And if that's not the case, if they all are scripted, that kind of ruins some of them for me. Because I'm like, it just sucks that this isn't like their raw reaction.
Yeah, I've read that they know, like, that some of them are, like some scripted, but, like, Ben Stiller's, for instance, there's, like, some of them where he's they weren't. I know Hillary Clinton, like the whole email joke at the very end, that was definitely not scripted. There was like a few that like. So I think they originally go with like a script kind of thing, or like, hey, we're gonna say this. You can react however probably. But then like there's some that I think he just throws in.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know. All the ones in the
emotion.
movies they show like him in the outtakes, and it just shows all like the jokes that are like all the like weird joke or like all the jokes that like attack them. Are all scripted, so like that ruins part of it for me. So if that's the case with all of them, then it sucks because like ruins part of Between Two Ferns for me. And I was like, I wish this movie didn't exist because that ruins the illusion of what I enjoyed it for. But I don't know, it's all right. I don't think it's if you like the videos, you'll potentially like the movie. But I would never like. I'm glad I didn't pay to see this. Like if it wasn't on Netflix, I definitely would have watched it. So, I also want to watch In the Tall Grass. That's a new Stephen King movie on Netflix. But I'm trying to finish Breaking Bad first. So.
You gotta finish Breaking Bad. El
We're
Camino's
close.
coming.
I know. Today, we're going to finish it today. That's the goal.
Oh.
After we finish recording, we'll finish it today. So, Ryan.
Well, unfortunately, as dedicated as I am to games and movies and everything, I did watch Joker about 2 hours ago. All I did was... I bought a house, so that was cool.
Yeah, that was the adult thing that Ryan was doing.
Yeah, so I failed Nothing Coherent. I'm not
Looks like you have to sell the house now.
Yes, I'm selling the house.
The realtor calls you and it's like, oh, we see that you aren't dedicated to your hobbies, so we're gonna like not let you close the deal on the house.
No, the house is gonna be dedicated to Nothing Coherent.
No,
and we're
I made a joke yesterday at work where I was like, oh, you get 3 toppings on your Domino's, so it looks like you're not getting a house now. Anyway.
Well, no, they have this anyway. The door has to be an N and a C. But that's it. Like that. Like it's just opened. Like people can just like see into the house and like you just push it basically.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna have like a 24-hour streaming
Room.
thing. Yeah, that will literally just we're gonna live there basically, and it will just record us doing whatever.
24-hour stream of us. Just...
No. You have a room that just is always on stream. Yeah. And so we just go in there and do things for like 5 seconds. We all have keys to Ryan's house.
Of course.
Just that room.
It's dedicated to Nothing Coherent, so whatever the house is needed for Nothing Coherent, it will be used. If we need to burn it down, we need to burn it down.
I don't know about that.
For skits.
I wouldn't want to burn your house.
You're like, wait,
down.
I forgot my line. Well, we can't redo this now. So,
well, arson.
I've just lost my house for nothing.
You forgetting the punchline is just costing me this very lucrative deal. Oh.
So yeah, I really didn't get to do much, sadly.
Yeah, you've been pretty busy. So.
Yeah, and I've been packing, so yeah.
You know what?
It's a busy time.
I think
Mr.
people
Ryan's
understand. Life. I mean, you were buying a house. Brandon's about to get married. Like
Zach's waiting on Outer Worlds.
Zach's waiting for the next update on Fallout 4.
Yes.
Which, talking about that real quick, Amazon leaked the Fallout collection.
I know.
Which we were talking about because there's rumors
Insert Fallout. They need to start sponsoring us. I'm not gonna lie.
Bethesda. I would give anything if I could call Todd Howard and be like, "Yo, we really like your stuff, except for 76."
You want to stop talking like Bane right there?
No.
But there's a rumor, or Amazon leaked a Fallout collection which will have.
Stop talking like me.
Ryan, I don't like what you're saying. But yeah,
remember when Tom Hardy was a good actor before? Before Venom.
Oh, okay.
That is nonsense.
No one knew who I was until I put on the symbiote suit.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, no, the Fallout bundle. I said to Brandon,
what if Venom took over Bane? Wouldn't that be sweet?
Yes.
Only if he talks like this, but then also has the symbiote thing over him. So it's like that really weird. There's a video online of Tom Hardy did the voice of Venom, and he's doing the voice anytime he's on set when it's not the CG.
Yeah.
And it looks super awkward to just see him like making faces and like trying to like do the voice for Venom.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah,
I like watching Mark Hamill do the Joker.
Yeah.
Like because he gets super animated and into it. But yeah, the Fallout bundle. I told Brandon when he told me about it, I was like, "You'll never see me again."
As of now, the rumor is October 25th, but which would put same day as Outer Worlds.
I see what they're up to. Bethesda's requiring me to make a very important choice. That's tougher than picking my very first Pokemon. I don't know if I can pick between.
But if it doesn't come out on Switch, I'd be kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
Because realistically, Skyrim can run on Switch.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 is on the same engine as Skyrim.
Right.
Like,
I'm surprised it's still not on Switch.
Which that's why I think this Legacy Collection is what's going to put it on Switch.
If it's like all the Fallouts, I'll buy it.
1, 2,
3,
New Vegas,
and 4.
4, and I think there was one more.
Maybe 76?
Not 76.
That would be Tactics or Brotherhood.
I think it's Tactics. I'll check. You.
But yeah, I'm really excited for that because I think that the more people that get to play Fallout 1 and 2, the more, like, the better that is for the series because Fallout 1 and 2 are actually really good. It's just that they're not as well known. And I've only played Fallout. I haven't even played Fallout 1. I've played Fallout 2, but I've never even found a copy of Fallout 1. Like
yeah, Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, all Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition, Fallout New Vegas Game of the Year Edition, and Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition.
Oh my gosh. If that's on all consoles, I'll buy it for PS4 and stream all the Fallout games.
Well, the collection has been
I'll be
removed.
dead.
The bundle is advertised for $40.
No, $40? That's a freaking steal!
Confirm. The only console so far to confirm for his PC, hold on, is the ability to play free mods on PC and consoles. Yes.
Mods on console.
The main game, 4 edition, Dead Money. Yeah, it's talking about just, I need to let my dog in, it's raining.
Mod on console?
Yeah.
I can play Fallout New Vegas Dust?
Also,
Oh.
hold on, talk about Inspector Gadget was announced for Disney Plus, a new movie.
Oh, Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget.
Dude, I love the original live action.
Yeah, dude,
That
with
was
Matthew
I
Broderick.
used to watch that all the
I
time.
watched that so much. I remember loving it.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, it was like a direct to DVD Disney movie or something like that, I think, and it was surprisingly well done. The effects are actually not bad for mid '90s.
Yeah.
Because it's like you would be like, oh, this is gonna be terrible, but I remembered enjoying it a lot. That was a childhood classic of mine too, man. I never really watched the cartoon, but the movie when it came out, my brother and I watched that all the time. I loved the car, just because the car could talk and it would shoot out Skittles. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then I remember they made an evil Inspector Gadget. It was just
I do remember.
and they
that.
fought on the Golden Gate Bridge,
Yeah.
and he pulls the pin, and the other one just goes flying away like a balloon.
I wanna watch
this
that
is
again.
so fun. I bet it's on Hulu or Disney because it's not Disney but Netflix right now. It'll definitely be on Disney Plus because
Yeah.
Disney Plus is gonna put everything out, which I'm so excited for because there's so many original animated Disney films that I just haven't seen. Of the old classics, I don't think I've ever seen Sword in the Stone, and I'm I want to watch a lot
Oh,
of
I
these
haven't
old
seen
Disney
Sword in the
movies.
Stone since I was little.
Right, I've never seen it because we just never owned
I
it
don't
when
even
I was
probably
growing
remember
up.
it.
I actually haven't
classic.
even seen Hunchback of Notre Dame,
Oh,
and
wow.
I've heard that one's amazing.
Yeah, that's a really good movie.
Yeah, I just never saw it, but I've always wanted to.
Right.
And I think Disney Plus is just going to be awesome, and the fact
I
that
could
they're
see them doing a full-on remake of that movie.
I've
live
heard that
action.
one has the potential to be a really good live action, and I believe it because just the historical setting and everything. But I never saw it, but we should probably talk about Inspector Gadget. Brandon, get in here! I don't know, Inspector Gadget seems really cool. I hope that they do more live action stuff like that for Disney, or is it an animated movie? What did he say? I don't know.
Inspector Gadget?
Yeah.
The animated was really, the original animated was
Right.
awesome, too.
Yeah. I don't know enough.
It's probably, actually, I don't know. Brandon!
Oh no, Pongo. Last time Pongo was a special guest, he licked the microphone 3 times.
Well,
Oh man.
we've lost Brandon
We've
forever.
lost Brandon to the darkness. It's starting to rain. My battery
Bane
is
got
low
to
as
him.
it needs to get.
Brandon, come to the darkness. I was born in it. Molded by it. Raised by it, I
I
think.
hadn't seen the light until I was already
Yeah.
mad. God, that's just. What is this episode?
I don't know. This is rough right now.
Oh no, this is exactly what our fans are used to. So is that our list of ideas? No, don't throw that away. We need that for whenever we hit writer's block.
Have you ever watched Thomas the Magic Railroad? The original?
No, I actually never have. I know it's one of Brandon's favorites as a kid.
Well, here it is.
Maybe one day we'll do a watch along.
It has Alec Baldwin in it.
Yeah. Read the back of that. Brandon is back. He's back from the dead.
Come on, wet doggo.
Oh, yes, Pongo. Hello. Please do not. He did it.
All right, Pongo, you had your purpose. You hit the mic.
Again.
See you later, buddy.
Good boy. So anyway, we talked about
Fonda's
Inspector
back.
Gadget
Peter
a
Fonda's
little
dead.
bit. What?
Peter Fonda's dead. He's
What?
dead.
But Alec Baldwin's also in it, and he's not dead.
Yeah. You know Ringo Starr used to do the voice for Thomas the Tank Engine?
I've
He
actually
did?
read that before.
That's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
2 of the Beatles actually have done.
That's kind of awesome.
Well, in the UK, Thomas was like, I'm going to say this, and then somebody's going to be like, you're so stupid. Thomas was huge in the UK.
I can believe that.
And so they were like, well, what else is huge? The Beatles.
Yeah.
And so they were, my understanding, at least as far as kid shows go, they were equally as popular, at least on
yeah.
that aspect. I understand the Beatles are the second
So-
coming of Jesus, but
I was never super into the not the Beatles, but Thomas as a kid. But now with all the
The
memes,
idea of faces on trains is just a very unique. That someone was definitely tripping on acid when they came out with Thomas the Train.
Yeah, well, the original books are like super dark.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, yeah, they're like there's one where they basically kill some engines for just being lazy.
Yeah.
well, Train, it turns out
Look it
that
up on
you
YouTube,
are.
kids.
Yeah, well, one of them, Henry, the green one, and they keep this in the show, doesn't want to leave the tunnel because it's raining, and then doesn't want to leave after. He's like, why would I want to leave? So like, all right, and they put bricks around him, and he dies in there.
Oh my gosh!
Which you don't,
Look this up. This is a. This is
It's a real
true.
thing.
This is so true.
It's like Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 levels of dark.
And like, but as a kid, you're like, that stupid train, he's lazy, so he's stuck there.
He's stuck in there.
And you
He's
don't think about
gonna
it,
die.
he's dead. Yeah.
He's suffocated.
Um.
Well, it's a train. It's an inanimate object.
Also,
right?
rumors are Paul Rudd is going to be the Inspector Gadget.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
But anyway, I heard you guys talking a little bit about that because you can hear everything in the other rooms in this house.
We didn't know what to talk about once you left us.
Yeah, I heard just Bane impressions from what it also sounded like.
Listen, here's the deal. Without you, this all falls apart. I don't know what to do.
Anyway, so we're doing our. Do you want to move to our Joker talk, or I don't think there's any other news.
Not that I can think of. Oh, Pokemon, the gym thing,
Yeah.
and people being salty. I like the
Hope your
idea.
windows are up.
Mine are, because I'm smart. You go out there, my sunroof is
Yeah, well,
open.
I think originally the gym thing would have been worth talking about. I'm going to talk about it real quick. I think the mistranslation sucks because I was really excited for 18 gyms.
Yeah, and
Thinking
then
of
they
minor
corrected-
league and major league. Would be
That's
like,
what I thought.
Yeah, but I hope, and we were talking about this before, I hope that what the best case scenario is Pokemon becomes a seasonal game
Yeah.
where everyone, because they talked about in the lore of this game is that
Well, it's like big battles and everything, and like
Yeah, well, like
people going to
the-
stadiums and filling them up.
it's like sports, right?
Yeah,
Like football, basically.
That's what I was
They're like-
thinking. So I was like, oh, there's going to be like the minor league and then the major league, and then after you beat the major league, you go on to like the Elite Four,
Yeah,
like how they do in the anime. That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, sounds kind of cool.
Oh, also, this No Time to Die poster came out today. Just in
Ooh,
case you haven't seen it, it's not really a great poster, but it does its
Well,
job.
it's Bond, sir. Do you think that's his last one?
Yeah,
It
this
is
has
his
this
last-
has to be
this
his
is
last
his
one.
last-
I didn't think he was.
Oh,
gonna
we do have one thing else to talk about that we totally forgot about.
Okay, what is it?
Birds of Prey trailer.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
It should have played before Joker.
It
It actually did not at the Alamo.
It didn't have.
At AMC, was weird.
No, I would have made note of that because I would have probably told you one thing or another. I'd have been like, the trailer looks good or the trailer looks
But
terrible.
if you follow Nothing Coherent, you
Yeah,
would
he
have been-
followed it or he shared it. He followed
Yeah.
the trailer.
He followed the trailer
He shared
to the
no,
ends of the earth
Yeah, he.
and never to be seen
So
again.
since you've watched the trailer then.
Yes.
So sorry, Zach. So I think it's a meh trailer, but Ewan McGregor does look like he's having fun.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to see. I don't know if this trailer is revealing too much or too less. And if it's too less, I'm really excited. If it's too much, then I'm not. Like,
My thing is it just looks like. So here's this is where my everyone, let's put our tinfoil hats on. Okay, you ready?
Oh, okay.
This movie only exists because DC wanted to get a female superhero team out before Marvel could.
I would agree with that.
And I think some of it. Now, granted, you could if it was just a Harley Quinn movie, I might be more on the client not to say that. I might be more like, no, if this was all like called Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey or something like that. But this is about the Birds of Prey.
And to me, I'm just like, well, you're doing that Justice League thing again where you rush all these characters into a movie just to say that you did it.
Yeah. Now some of it does look interesting.
yeah, but
Well, I mean, it's
if-
comic books, so it's going to be interesting one way or another to see what they do, but
I don't know. I could see lazy writing in this, and
I get major Suicide Squad vibes.
yeah. So
that's what a lot of people were saying. I was like, maybe I don't
her
really care then.
acting, Robbie's acting, may save some of the movie.
But I
with
thought
the character.
even in Suicide Squad, I thought she was a fine Harley Quinn. It's just I don't like.
No, I think she's a perfect Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
but
I just don't think the rest of the movie fits.
Yeah.
Like her and
But she may be like the peak of this movie. And
I think her and McGregor might be the only good things. But I would totally be okay with that. As long as there was like something I liked about it, I would be more okay with that instead of like Suicide Squad and BVS and man, I don't know which one I put below that, but those two, Justice League being like things where they're like only small things I attach myself to, when the rest of it being like so terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sucks following Joker to like
Going right into that.
Or even like Shazam. Like,
Yeah.
there was a good DCEU movie, and Joker was really good, and then Birds of Prey in February, and I'm like,
It's like the stock market. We
DC
got highs and lows.
Yeah. DC is just going into a whole different realm of like movies, and we keep on comparing it to Marvel, but we just gotta let DC
I
run its
think
course.
what DC needs to do is just focus on standalone films rather than a connected universe at this point.
They need a connecting universe.
it needs to be one or the other.
Right,
That-
that's
but-
what I'm saying.
And
And
that's what
I
we'll,
think that
we'll
would
talk
work
about
better.
at the end of Joker, because I've got thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But if they're gonna do a connected universe, they need to do it right, or they need to not do it at all. They
Right,
need
that's
to do
what I'm
what the
saying.
animated movies do, where each one is its own thing,
Right.
and just be like, accept the audiences know. They know who Batman is, they know who Superman is,
I
they know
think
Wonder
it would-
Woman, blah blah blah, and just do it.
I think it would be better to just take like major stories and just adapt them at this point, rather than just trying
But
to do
they
a
also
connected
need to keep the
universe.
same actors and the same.
Yeah,
Right, and I'm okay with that, but I need them to just be like, all right, look, we're doing just a hard reboot. Here's like a Batman Year One movie or a Killing Joke movie or whatever.
yeah. Just be like,
they
hey,
wanna
we
do.
have these actors. Here's who's gonna play them.
Right,
Basically,
and
they need
just
to
do
come
that.
out on the first one
Mhm.
and say to the public, "This is where it's gonna get hard, though."
Yeah.
Trying to change public perspective.
Yeah.
Because Marvel's done the connected universe so well. Be like, look, we've hired these actors. They are going to do 6 movies. These 6 Batman movies, some of them will tie together, but some of them won't. Some of them will be Year One. Some will be Killing Joke. Some will be
Right.
Dark Knight Returns.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
keep
think
that
that
to do Dark Knight
I
Returns.
think that would work perfectly, just because it would be different enough for Marvel to be like, oh, okay, these are standalones, like when you pick up a comic book.
Yeah.
I think that would work for
So
fans.
what do you do with like Justice League at this point? You
Ignore
just throw-
everything. Everything that's
Yeah.
come before.
So like Gal Gadot, like you just ignore her as Wonder Woman?
Well, no,
I would keep the cast.
I
would
think you
just
could keep. That's what I'm saying. You either Gallagher. Well, since they're already Wonder Woman was such a success. Same thing with Shazam. You
Yeah.
can keep them and be like, and
You just get
Aquaman.
rid of
Aquaman is
all
a
the-
$1 billion movie. But anybody
Right.
who doesn't want to do it, like Ben Affleck, and Cavill wants to do it, but they're dropping him. I mean, Ray Fisher. What has he freaking done since Justice League? It's been 2 years, and there's no talks of him coming back for Cyborg any point soon.
Yeah.
So like, let them go. Ezra Miller, like they're never doing it. He can live in denial all he wants. They're never doing that Flash movie.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. That's just what I would do.
I'd do like a hard reboot.
Even a soft reboot.
Or,
Like
yeah, I guess a soft
Aquaman.
reboot.
Aquaman, Shazam would be my best example. It feels like a soft reboot.
Yeah.
Where they have, hey, all these superheroes exist. Shazam also exists in this world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the superheroes are now idolized versus where they were in Justice League /
Yeah.
Batman vs Superman and Suicide
Mhm.
Squad, where they were looked down upon. So, you know, just be like, hey, this universe exists, heroes are idolized, blah, blah, blah. But that's what I would do. So let's move into then, I guess, Joker. So we're going to do this non-spoiler section first and
Right.
give a score, and then we're going to do spoiler talk, because I feel like to really talk about the movie, you got to talk about spoilers.
Right. Me too.
But here's going to be the rule. If you think it's a spoiler, or you have to be like,
Just
hey,
don't say it.
this is a minor spoiler, don't say it. Anything beyond the first act, don't say.
Okay.
But you can talk. So here be yeah.
I'm
so,
gonna for my non-spoiler stuff. I'll probably just refer to what's in the trailers.
I would be a little careful too with that.
Right.
Just don't elaborate on
Right.
this, because yeah.
I really like this movie. I went into it thinking this is going to be a mind-numbing, thought-provoking film. And I think that's exactly what it is. Like, if you're expecting, like, any Joker you've ever, like, that you've seen in the past, I'd say stop right now, because you're not getting a Joker like anything you've ever seen before. I would say this is the most different character that DC has ever done. I really like Joaquin Phoenix's acting in this movie. It's top notch. Like, I would not be surprised if he got nominated for an Academy Award. I really wouldn't. Like, just because of, like,
Yeah.
the message the film conveys about, like, mental awareness and stuff like that. Like, I could see him being at least recognized in some capacity. Like, I really liked the story element of it. I thought giving the Joker an origin was going to be something that I couldn't really get behind, because in the comics he doesn't really have an origin. And Killing Joke, he says it best. If I had an origin, I would prefer it to be multiple choice. So I'm just like, in my head canon, I'm like, this is just Joker sitting down in an asylum telling how he became the Joker, but he tells a different story every day. Like, I don't know.
Just like, are you talking about just like the Joker's backstory, like in general in the comics?
Right, like, because we don't really know like what Joker's real backstory is. So when they announced, oh, we're gonna do a Joker movie, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, we kind of do.
Yeah, but like,
not in the movie. In the comics, we know.
We kind of do, but like, it's never been like super delved into, has it? Really?
Recent.
Well, like
last couple years.
Like the 3 Joker thing. Yeah.
And gave all 3 the origin. Anyway, we'll get into that. Yeah,
But
that was
like,
controversial as is to give Joker a backstory.
Right, and like a lot of people kind of like the mystery of the Joker and everything. Like nobody knows who he is, and that's kind of where I am on it. So like when they were like, oh, we're gonna do a film on this one guy's origin, and like, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And then this movie came out, and I was like, I was blown away. Like I did not think I was going to relate to this film like in any way whatsoever. I was like, the acting in this movie is phenomenal. I loved it. Yeah. Anyway, like I thought all the acting was good. I couldn't think of really a weak character in the movie. Like I thought everybody did fine. The acting was good. I thought the pacing was well done. There was only one scene that I was like, you don't really need that, but like it's so brief.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, like, it's good. The violence felt really intense when it, like, got to that point. I was like, wow, this is not like anything I've seen in a superhero movie or a comic book movie. I felt like I was watching, like, an old noir gangster film or something, like, with the way people would, like, have violence in their films. Like, I think they said that they were trying to convey, like, old Martin Scorsese and like Francis Coppola films like that, like Godfather and Taxi Driver. They were going for that kind of feel, and they definitely got that.
Yeah.
So much so to the point where people are like, "Oh, this movie goes too far in some places." I'm like, I don't really know about that. Like, I enjoyed it. So
you fresh off of seeing it, Ryan. Seeing it 2 hours ago.
Yeah. So this is definitely a roller coaster kind of movie, but not like super emotional on like happy to sad. It's like super dark to sad to super dark to sad. There's a few glimmers of hope, I guess, but not to spoil anything. But and then it's like, and then it goes back. So I think the first half of the movie, if you're a wishful thinker in the movie, you're just anytime there's anything. But I think the emotion side of it definitely pulls you back and forth quite a bit, which I'm like a happy movie guy or an action movie guy, so when I get into a sad, like, dark movie, sometimes I'm like, this is rough. And now, I will say, in the movie theater, there was one guy that literally laughed almost the whole time. There was like a lot of like those weird moments where it was like kind of a joke, but kind of not, and you wouldn't normally laugh at that. But there was one guy that was literally laughing at everything.
There were parts where I had uncomfortable laughter in my theater, I think.
Yeah, but so I think the movie did really well on capturing the emotion of like the unstableness of the Joker. I think there's a few scenes that I can't spoil, but you're like, okay, is he gonna do it or is he not? And that you get a lot of tension from that, and I think they capture that because you're like, okay, he could literally go either way, kind of on what he's gonna do. You don't know if he's really thinking good or bad at that moment. I think the unique thing about him laughing, they capture that quite a bit throughout the whole movie.
Right, like they make it like a
yes, and they make that a huge thing. I think they go from the beginning all the way to the end in a very good. If you watch the first probably 5 minutes to the last 5 minutes. You see both sides of the Joker within the first 5 minutes of the movie to the last 5 minutes of the movie, and you could literally base that movie off of each of those 5 minutes, which I think that's really good in a movie because you're still capturing the emotion, but you brought him through a whole journey of one side, what used to be, to what he is now, basically, and how that can all change with just a few little things happening the wrong way. So I think it does have a clear message with society now, I think, which a lot of these movies currently are doing that. And usually it gets, what Zach was kind of saying, people open that with welcome arms. His acting was, I think, really great. I mean, I don't think anybody can argue with that. This is a different type of character, so I think also the body prep. He looks like
he
lost like
so,
52 pounds.
Yeah, everything you
like
see
that.
where it's like where his body looks weird, it was all natural. Like he did all that himself.
So, and I figured that was kind of one of those things where he goes through some crazy diet kind of thing. So he definitely put his body through a toll, kind of like Heath Ledger to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, protect him. Kind of thing at this point.
Yeah, make sure that
he's like, okay,
checked up on and taken care of.
Yeah, because this was a lot darker than Heath Ledger's performance, I think, and just it captured, a lot of dark things. I do like, not to spoil anything, but I like the perspectives that they swing back and forth because you almost believe certain things.
Yeah.
And then it swings it back another way. And you're like,
it's like you have expectation and reality.
Exactly. So there's a little bit of that flip-flopping around. So sometimes you see something, you're like, oh, that's just a different perception or different take on something. So I really enjoyed that because then it helps you get into his mind a little bit more. And so I think they capture that really well. Obviously, there's not a straight villain in this. Brandon's looking at me like there is.
It'll be. I'll let you finish.
Yeah. So, and you're like, well, Joker's the villain kind of thing, but in this movie, it really isn't that. And you can make several cases on who or what the.
I think what you're trying to say is that it's not like really black and white.
Well,
like,
yeah.
Unlike the characters.
And I think you can interpret things differently. So, and the movie even does that very well itself. Is like, okay, you've got people looking at him both different ways, and that's how his origin starts. The last couple things just to mention, I love the connections, especially towards the end. With this isn't really a spoiler.
If it's, it's up to you if you've.
Yeah. Obviously we're in Gotham, so Wayne...
Yeah, the Waynes play a role to an extent. They're mentioned and you'll...
I do like the connection there, because it gets you back to at least, okay, we know something before the Joker.
Right.
And it gives somebody, that isn't a huge comic nerd or anything, but that, appreciates the Joker, which is a lot of people. You see Harley Quinn, Joker things all the time, but...
I'd say Batman is probably just as recognizable as the Joker at this point. I would argue that.
What do you mean the other way? The Joker's as
recognizable
as Batman.
Yeah.
I was like,
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyways, I really liked. I think there's probably a lot of little hidden things that I probably didn't spot if I had a guess in a movie like this. But it was even the lighting, the tone, and everything.
Yeah.
Very dark. It kind of actually reminds me a little bit of John Wick, which we kind of mentioned that just on the the color tones.
I can see that.
Because, there's really no bright spots.
Like the lighting,
but when you notice when he is happy or when he shows that something's good, the lighting and everything around
it's a lot more
him,
yellow than green.
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed
that. There's a brighter tones to it. So I think there's a lot of work put into it. I think that they took a lot of time. I think his performance is great. There's really nobody else's performances that were in there long enough for me to really just appreciate.
And that was kind of
it's a strange dynamic because you get to follow him and there's really
he's in 98% of the movie.
Yeah,
compared to everybody else.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a single scene without him.
Where he's not in it. Well, actually, that's not true, but that's spoiler. So,
we'll get to it.
Yeah. But that's a weird thing because it's normally you're well, here's all the supporting actors, but realistically, his mom was the only other character that was in it.
And she didn't really
She had a couple scenes.
Yeah.
Now, talking about it's weird thinking about that.
Yeah, actually.
There's just really
when I was watching it.
And you talk about the mayor the mayor was mentioned several times. I won't go into too much.
Well, they talk about the mayor and then people running for mayor, and so there's a lot of debate on that too. Yeah.
I would say Robert De Niro's character and then his mom are the only real supporting characters.
And it's the scenes. He gets 4 scenes maybe.
De
and
Niro,
De
yeah,
Niro.
like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Probably like 4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking about, yeah.
He has like clips. There's like one where he has like a small clip kind of thing, but it's like.
Yeah, but I mean, it's whatever. We'll get to
Yeah.
it. We'll get to it in a minute.
But
yeah.
overall, I really enjoyed the movie. It's one of those things where you come out of the movie theater and you're not like jumping for joy by any means, and everybody's kind of like.
Oh yeah, I love
Whispering.
that. I want to see that again.
And everybody's just like, I sat by 2 people that were sitting by themselves. Actually, I sat by like an older lady. She's probably in her 50s and 60s, which I thought was really weird for her to go to this random movie. I just would not think.
Well, Walking Phoenix. That's what we've walked into a lot of people, a bunch of older people who are
Just
like, I'm kind of
old
curious about it
fan
because of
base,
Walking Phoenix.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
or De Niro, and I'm like,
Yeah,
That's
De
an
Niro and
old.
Joaquin
That's an
Phoenix
older.
are-
Yeah, and then there's a guy that's probably in his 30s and 40s, and they both. I actually got it first, and they just both sat there and like were just dead quiet. So we had a really weird.
I
like,
think like for some
presence,
people like are
in the
probably
theater where it's
uncomfortable.
pretty quiet. That one guy, I really wanted to see who that person was, but he just laughed throughout the whole movie. I was like, okay, is the Joker in here like right now or what? Like what's going on?
Don't make that joke.
No, but there's like, well, I can't spoil
we'll
that. But
get to
anyways,
it. Yeah. So closing like, okay, so I'll wrap this segment of it, and I'll move into spoiler. For me, as a movie, I think it's phenomenal. As a movie, I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think it's got great performances. Everyone gives their A game, even if they're not in it for long.
Right, like nobody was wasted. I think.
Yeah, I'm trying not to just reiterate what they say because I almost completely agree with them. I do think the journey from beginning to end is it's a tragedy. So,
Oh, yeah,
like,
no, and
watching it, and there are moments throughout it, you're like, man, I just want to reach out and be like, it's gonna be okay, and like just talk to them.
Yeah.
Because that's all it needed. If he was just somebody who was there for him.
Right, and they allude to that.
And so that was cool. I really did genuinely enjoy all of it.
Mm-hmm.
As a Joker movie,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where I have to keep telling myself it's hard for me to separate. As a Joker movie, I don't know if I liked it.
Right.
Because, and that's the hard thing, and that's what we'll get to talking about in a minute. But as a movie, I think from start to finish, it's phenomenal. I do think there are a lot of great things about it. I do see the controversy behind it, because at first I was like, maybe it'll be over-exaggerated, but watching it, I'm like, no, I see. I get
there's
why.
definitely some serious friction between borderline kind of
Glorifying violence and glorifying him, and I get it.
Right.
And that's, we'll talk about it more in a minute, because I do think it needs to be addressed to an extent. But I do genuinely enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
And so I would give it a solid 8.5, maybe a 9. I would stick at
personally give it a
8.5,
9.
but it could go up.
It's one of my favorite films of the year.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best movies I've seen this year. I just don't know
it's really good.
Yeah, I would have to give it a 9 also. That's kind of what stuck in my head when I left the theater. But I mean, this movie is just, if you don't like dark movies, don't see this movie.
It's not an easy watch.
It's definitely not.
It's gonna make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, and
even like the most hardcore moviegoers.
Yeah, I think the people that don't like a little bit of dark, they're like, this is just not a movie. You're gonna be upset
now,
for this movie.
I'll be honest. Maybe I'm weird. I didn't think it was like super uncomfortable, but I could our room, the theater felt uncomfortable.
You could feel the uncomfortableness.
The movie itself might not make you uncomfortable, but the people around you are going to.
Yeah,
Which I'll start. I'll talk about something in the spoiler section that happened. So, like I said, we'll quickly move into spoilers just after this. So, anybody listening, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. All of our SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Music, iHeartRadio, anything like that. If you want to listen to us, please share us. Please share the Facebook page. Hopefully, we have plans for future 2020 because we've got a lot of busy stuff to do in this last part of 2019. So 2020, we have some ideas.
Just to be fair, we're probably going to be in and out next few weeks. Just to be,
we're
going to try to stay on top of it, but it's going to get kind of crazy. I think with our schedule.
I think the next 2 weeks we should be fine. But after that, there will at least be 2 weeks where I'm gone, so you guys will have to figure something out.
Yeah.
We will work something out.
But anyway, so before we move into spoiler talk, I just wanted to throw that open and make sure that everyone had a chance to leave or stop listening. So
all right, so we're gonna count down from 5, and at that point, you're on your own. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so during the movie, I was so tense because of all the rumors and stuff on the internet about potential shootings.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember what the scene was, but Taylor grabbed my arm and I threw my popcorn off of my lap because I was just so like there were people around us and there was like this like kind of shady-ish people like, behind us to the left.
Like, come on, guys.
And I was like, and then there were other people around us who like someone would like whisper and then one would get up and I was like, oh no. I was like,
No. Every time I saw someone doing anything, I just looked and like when like the first gunshots are shot in the movie, I immediately just like looked around. I was like,
well, the problem is I was like. So my head, we were picking out our seats. I was like, we could sit at the top because we could see people more, or we could sit closer to the bottom so we could get away quicker.
I
actually
always sit in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, I know.
I sat at the very edge.
I sat at the edge, but I was like, so I had planned. I was like, I'll grab my popcorn, throw my drinks at them. That'll give us enough time to run. I was like, we're far enough away that some of us should make it out. But that
some of us should make it out.
But that was like in that moment though, I was so tense because of just
right. I was just on the edge of my seat because I didn't know.
And so like as of today, which is Saturday after it came out, the day after it came out, LA had to shut down a few theaters because there were threats called in, and so like
I heard that happened in Texas too.
I didn't think it would happen, but I was also like, man, I'm just so like
I'm gonna be prepared.
I was like, I want to believe society's better than this. But I was like...
I mean, we literally just made a movie about the Joker.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm just on edge. Like, the entire time, I'm like...
Right, no, I understand.
I'm a little tense, and so watching it,
my entire theater was tense. Anytime anybody moved, we would just see people look at the other person.
You'd see all of our... I mean, there were like maybe 40 people in my showing.
We had like 15, so I was like, nobody's going to come into a theater with only 15. That's rookie numbers.
No, that's why we moved up to the 4 o'clock. Because like the 7 o'clock is full, almost full.
Right, and
I was like, if you're going to do something, you'd wait till it's full there.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm
not dealing with this.
I figured if something was going to happen, it happened like the early part of the movie. So I'm like, the first 20 minutes of the movie, I was way more tense. Yeah. Because I as the movie went on, I slowed, I calmed down.
It was when they were on the train and he kills the guys. I was like, oh, this is when it's happening.
But, so I guess let's talk about.
Let's talk about the actual movie.
So, the Waynes. This is a big thing that people want to talk about.
Yeah.
Regarding if they should be in it or not.
Okay, so for me, the one scene that I said that you should cut was the scene where Joker met with Bruce in front of the mansion. And the only reason I would cut that was because we know who Bruce Wayne is, and I think it means more to not have Joker meet him before, I guess.
Know,
and seeing him gunned down.
I actually like that little interaction.
I think it's a cool moment.
Because Joker's always been obsessed with Batman before.
Yeah. I'd have two ways. So I agree both sides. His side, I agree with that. It shouldn't exist. But on your side, I could see the argument that I would make is that this is him meeting his brother. Because in that scene, he still thinks that Thomas is his dad.
Yeah, I guess
and
that's
so
true.
The reactions he has is, I'm meeting my little brother.
Yeah. Well, and he looks super sad in there or whatever, and he's, in a weird way, he puts a smile on his face.
Yeah.
But, he actually wants him to be happy.
When he puts his fingers in his mouth and
he's doing little
that's better.
magician tricks.
It was cool to see that different version of Pennywise, or not Pennywise,
Alfred.
Yeah.
Pennyworth.
Just for a second to see a burly man who's they never said his name, but that's clearly who he's supposed to be.
I was like, that's clearly Alfred. British accent guy comes up protecting Master Wayne.
Yeah, but we were talking, and I've reiterated this to a few people who've talked about some people are mad that Batman stuff is included at all, but I think if you don't include it, you glorify the violence, and so you have to show that one day, hey, Batman will rise up and stop him.
Right. I said you can cut all of this stuff out, referencing Batman, and make essentially the same movie, but I do agree that if you cut all of that out, then what is the point of this movie?
You have to canonically change the ending to that. It was all a dream.
I thought it was refreshing a little bit through all of that because you're kind of in the midst of
because
all this darkness, and you see for the people that are not a purist kind of thing but recognize want to see something, that connection.
Yeah.
Just seeing that, and I love it because Joker's obsessed with Batman, right?
I'm under the belief...
You see that first interaction, the first time they ever, and how they're all tied together.
Yeah.
Because if that wasn't the case, you wouldn't know how they were really tied together, theoretically. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, so if they ever did anything else past this, which that's a conversation for later maybe, but if they did anything past this, and this is actually really more of something that they could move on with, on at least the origin kind of how they interacted, then, I mean, man... you've got a solid from the beginning.
Yeah,
And
I guess that's true.
You set your DC universe for
Right. Well, and that's what
future.
we talked about.
Point.
I would love if this was the reboot to the DCEU.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Joaquin Phoenix is not going to do another one. He never does sequels. Todd Phillips is not going to do another one. But if you were like, hey, this is the world we've built, and then if this is where this is where it's going to get problematic though, because you're going to have to talk about that, like his ending where he kills Murray and there's the riots happening. That's the canonical ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not that it could have potentially been a dream or his crazed state that he canonically caused
all of that. Yeah,
and did get captured. He's in Arkham, but there's still riots going on and still Joker gangs. But then you look at it 15 years later, Batman rises up. So it's the villains creating the heroes.
Yeah, and the best thing about this is you get that connection and you see the rise of the Joker. If it's not a dream, of course, which is whatever. I
don't
hope
think
it's not a dream, because then you can base it off of that. They can have a different actor do Joker, because he'll age at least 15 years or whatever. And probably get away with it. And I mean, he's got makeup on the whole time anyway, so it's not like it's going to be that hard probably to cover up his new actor. And you have where this is how the Joker develops his whole thing. Obviously, he's not very smart intellectually.
At least at this point.
At this point, but I want to see that development of where he starts scheming.
I think a lot of people were expecting that with this movie.
Well,
they were like, "Oh, he's gonna get into crime."
When
but
the ambulance hits him or whatever, and they put his body on there and he rises, kind of thing, you start to feel this momentum shift, right? And you go,
right? And I was
he's starting to get empowered at this point, and so then you're like, okay, maybe this is where that intellect kind of kicks in, and you start taking advantage of these dudes, basically.
This person is finally starting to get that attention that they crave.
Well, and that's what the Joker. It's a show. Everything's a show for the Joker, or whatever. Right. So it's in a way, it's a performance. and that's reflecting off everything he does.
Dances on the hood of the car.
Well, yeah, and that's showing his kind of crazy state of mind where he's so unstable that everybody else sees him as a hero, kind of thing, because he's taking a stand, but it's not even about that for him.
Well, we talked about there's. So here's the thing with the Joker. The Joker is incredibly intelligent, but it's all for chaos. There's he's not good or evil. It's just chaos.
Yeah.
And so that's my problem with this version of the Joker is that it's revenge. Yeah. Every kill is revenge.
You're like, this person kind of deserved what they had coming to them in a way, which is why it's hard to like this movie, because it's almost like they're glorifying
but it glorifies it, but I would also say it's not to the extent that it glorifies it, you should kill. Because some of these people, it's just making fun.
Some of them they don't. Some of them do not deserve to die by any means.
Yeah, and you can make an argument on any of them.
I don't think any of them really deserved to die. But the people jumping on the train, if you were jumping a person and they had a gun, you'd probably die. Because I mean that's the first kills. It's in self-defense. But then it progresses.
I like it, because you show a progression. He's at the mental hospital or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're doing all... That's where you see, he starts to get the taste of blood at that point.
Right.
It was revenge, because he had a good heart. He wanted good for people.
Yeah.
Originally. When he first started out in this movie, he wanted
he's
something
taking
good.
care of his mom and all this stuff.
His mom...
we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, and then his mom betrayed him. He starts going through all this, and then before you know it, he may have a good time period where he doesn't get to kill anybody or anything.
Yeah.
And then he starts to develop that unstableness in the mental facility where he's talking to all these other crazy
Well, at the very end, we see him walking back to his cell or whatever, and then you see just the red footprints. I'm like, oh.
What if you started Batman 15 years later or whatever from that boy,
15, 20 years.
And then finally he breaks out of the mental asylum or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's already got all these goons around him or whatever.
Right.
They get him out of there, obviously, and the rise of the Joker kind of comes out.
Yeah.
He's developed into this schemer where he's been sitting there for 15 years building all this, and then he goes chaos.
And
see, you get the development from that.
Yeah.
You have this gap.
Yeah, but hold on. So you're talking about hypothetical. I'm talking about this movie. Of course.
This movie.
But it's built. But what I'm saying is,
I
build up.
I agree, but I don't think they'll do anymore.
Well,
at least we'll see. Money talks, but I doubt Walking ever comes back. I will be surprised the day he announces Joker 2 with him or that he's in Batman. I'll be
Well,
surprised.
and the thing is, and that's what back to my original is that they could pick up something 15 years later, and that's the beginning of Batman, but it's still picking up from this original story.
But talking about this movie, even the ending where he's got the blood on his feet,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
could just be part of his dream.
Right.
We don't know it's real or not. That's the problem. And that's the thing. Like, so if we take, the first theory is that everything's real. So
Right.
take everything for it being real.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to go with his definitive turning point isn't after he kills them. I mean, it is. That's like the start. But the minute that people start glorifying his kill, which
Right.
we talked about, I think is like the most comic book thing, and that's why I think it's like a
Right.
really comic book thing.
Where, like,
It is
all
such
these,
a leap.
all these people are like, well, F them. Like, these three rich people who, like, think they can just throw their weight around. Screw them. Nobody's going to miss them.
Yeah, because normally in reality,
That's
you'd be
what-
like,
that's what
you'd be
the
like
poor
Amanda
people-
Cloudmash just killed three kids.
That's what the poor are saying, but the rich, like, I love the dichotomy of that argument, though, because Thomas Wayne is on, like, TV talking about, no, this
Yeah.
person is wrong. And, like, all these other people who are being, like, treated like the scum of society are like, no, screw him. Like, his love interest literally says, nah, F him. Who cares? And it's not really his love interest.
Yeah, well, it's
but, like,
him.
Yeah, it's him.
But
in
like
his mind.
even like the newspapers, and this is what we talked about. Where
Yeah.
it gets weird.
It gets kind of weird.
Some of
like,
the newspapers are like
is he a
hero,
vigilante?
Some of them are like
Right.
murderer.
Mhm.
Which I was like, I really
Yeah.
like. That's where you have to give the suspension of disbelief for the comic book aspect.
Right.
Because realistically, you're looking at what? Probably this is the 80s.
It's like
80s,
80s,
90s.
70s, maybe.
And like realistically, if somebody came and shot three young they're
Three
they're
young
in their
adults.
20s.
Yeah.
It'd be
Like
way
our
different.
age.
I really feel like that's where my suspension came in of like
Right.
this is a comic book movie. We're telling a Joker origin movie. You're telling it from the point of where
Right.
if it is,
You have to keep in mind Gotham itself, like the situation that they're in.
which
like,
I get, and they're
Yeah,
and then
they-
the super rats and all
right,
that.
like they established that, like how bad things are,
Yeah.
and like how the rich in society don't really seem to care and are trying to fix the problem.
Yeah, except for Thomas. Thomas is the
Thomas
only one
is,
that
but,
is supposedly making an effort.
But even Thomas has a little bit of an edge to him in this movie.
yeah,
Like, how did you feel about like his mom's subplot about Thomas Wayne? Like, because at some point I like when they were like, "Oh, that's your dad," I was like, "I don't like this."
I have
And then-
mixed.
And then when you get to the point where it's like, "Oh no, she lied," like she's crazy. I
Well-
was like, "Okay, this makes more sense to me now."
Is she? Because at the end of the movie, he's holding the photo of her. On the back, it says TW.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's true.
So, and it doesn't show the father on the adoption papers either.
Mhm.
So what's to say that they didn't have the kid and she just
And
fully
he
adopted
made
him,
her
or-
look like she was crazy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That could be true.
But that's what we talked about. There's a lot of
Right,
different ways,
like-
and that's the thing that like it sucks.
That's
because
what I love about these movies at the same time because it makes you.
It's
think.
open
it's a movie. It makes you talk about it.
Yeah, like I said, it was going to be a thought-provoking film.
Yeah, and then, but that's the thing of like, and that's why I like this mental illness, and this is what the
Yeah.
message is. Mental illness is not a black and white thing. It's something
Right.
that needs to be talked
I
about.
think the crux of the film is the argument on the talk show.
Yeah.
Right before he shoots Murray in the head.
Well, and he was like, if I was lying on it,
If
when
I was lying on
when
the
I'm
ground
lying on the street
dying-
dying, you would walk over me. But the minute
Right.
it's one of you guys, but that's my problem too, because it glorifies.
Right, it justifies
Yeah.
what he's doing.
yeah.
Like he's trying to justify his actions, and Robert De Niro's character fires back, and he's like, "No, you're just trying to excuse your actions. What you did is wrong, regardless." And like,
Which is true.
Which is
Yeah.
like, and it's like, but then it turns, and he makes it personal with his character. He's like, "Well, you brought me on here to make fun of me,"
Yeah.
and then he shoots him in the head, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like the violence in this movie, like we haven't even really talked about that a whole lot. Like it was super.
The scene
graphic.
where the midget guy in the
Can we say that word? Is that like PC? I don't know. Midget, little person.
Depends
I don't
on
know.
who you ask. A lot of them don't like the term midget.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. Like when he's like trying to
the
leave.
very small man and the very large man in the room.
Yeah, no. After he kills that guy,
and then he's like hiding in the corner or whatever.
I
It's
felt
like,
so bad for him. I was like,
the lock or
When
whatever,
he couldn't
the
reach the chain.
and then everybody in the theater's like, oh.
the person
"Oh."
next to me was like, he's not gonna kill this guy, is he? Like I hear him saying that, and I almost turned to him and I was like, oh no, this was his plan all along, because the first thing he does was he locked the chain to the door.
But he does that I think he did that every time I entered the house
Sure, but I was just like,
or the apartment.
I don't
But
remember
it was
catching it,
premeditated.
but like,
It was premeditated.
Right,
that he was
like-
gonna kill him because he grabbed the scissors.
Well,
or
I
whatever
think he
before.
also thought, because they don't say who it is when he's knocking at the door, right? I think he also
Yeah.
had planned that it could have been the cops.
yeah. Oh, you know what? Like those cops, I guess, were kind of supporting characters too.
But I'm
Like,
like the same.
they
Like,
were really
what
weak.
was their
Everything
name?
else.
What was the name of the cops?
I don't remember.
Actually, I don't know if you can tell me anybody's name. Except for Murray and Thomas Lane.
Thomas, yeah.
The mom's name I don't think is mentioned a whole lot.
Penny is the mom's
it's
name.
Penny.
But yeah, no.
What's that girl's name?
His love interest. I don't think they ever
Never
actually
say.
said her name because
I don't know if I want to say
no,
it's a love interest.
I think that's
Well, to him
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
to him it is, and I think that's brilliant because that scene after like he goes into her apartment and she's like, "What are you doing here?"
Her name is Sophie.
And it's just like you're kind of thinking in your head like, "Oh, she's been there with him this whole time, right?" Like because of that, just the way they portray it. But then like when she's like, "You need to get out," and it's like, "Well, this seems really weird considering that we saw that they're together." And then you piece it together that he's had made up this whole relationship in his head. And I'm like, they really dive into like somebody losing their mind.
Yeah,
Like there's different shots in
why-
the movies
Yeah.
and the movie throughout, like of just seeing all these empty pill bottles and stuff and like him just strung out. And I'm like, this is intense. Like his psychiatrist was like, you're already on 7 medications. Like how's one more gonna do anything for you or whatever? And I'm
Also,
like,
shout out to Carl,
yeah.
played by Brian Tyree Henry. He's the Arkham Asylum clerk who he steals the paper from.
Yeah.
He's the dad in Spider-Verse, and he'll be in Eternals. I always really like him when he shows up.
Oh,
He's
yeah?
also the detective in Child's Play.
Hey, there you go. He was.
Yeah.
Man, what's with him and doing all these crazy R-rated movies?
Crazy movies. Crazy clown killing.
Well, like, Chucky's not really a clown, but he's a
doll.
doll.
It kind of, you could,
It's kind of similar. It's creepy.
They use sharp objects.
But man, like, when he killed his mom, that was when I got really uncomfortable. Because he even says the line, you mentioned it earlier in our non-spoiler talk about Joker's life being a tragedy. He's like, I
Yeah.
used to think my life was a tragedy, now I realize it's a comedy.
Well, yeah, and that's like the big thing from the trailers, and I was like,
Yeah.
hearing that and that. I do want to talk about my problem scene.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you're going to be able to convince me otherwise. Some people are trying to tell me I was wrong. So when he dons the makeup,
Mhm.
dons the full Joker outfit,
Yeah.
hate the music. I hate it.
Really?
I mean, like, the song that plays, it makes me so mad. Because it does not, I feel like it does not fit the tone. It's whatever it's an upbeat song. I can't even remember what it's called right now.
The one that's in the trailer?
No, it's not even from
They
the trailer.
replay it several times throughout the movie too.
I think maybe the...
I should know the title.
I
Okay.
know, I feel bad.
So-
I had it memorized the other night. Cause
Oh,
we were gonna
the
talk
song
about
That's
it.
Life with, that they
Yeah.
play at like the end of the talk show by Bill...
It
or
plays
by-
like several times.
Oh gosh, what's his name? This is gonna drive me crazy now because I literally just said
What'd
his
you say
name
it's called?
yesterday.
That's Life?
That's Life.
It is. It's by Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, that's it. Yeah, I think that they do that just to make you uneasy. Like, just to make you even more uneasy because it clearly doesn't fit. And I think that's supposed to show you,
Yeah.
like, how on edge, like, you should be. Because, like, he's full on the Joker now. He's no longer Arthur Fleck struggling with his medication and his mental problems. He's full on, like, Joker at this point.
Okay, so do you think that Gotham is really truly responsible for the Joker because they actually canceled his counseling and his medication? His medication kept him kind of sane, right? So do you think the Joker would have ever became the Joker
I think that's
if
what
the city didn't really,
I think
This
they're
could-
trying to allude to that, but again, I think it goes back to the scene right before he kills Murray, where he's like, "You're still responsible for your own actions." Like, granted, he's sick. Like, I get that. I sympathize with that. I know people who have mental illness, you know, but like they don't go around to make the decision to kill people. Like, because he was. Like, I don't remember correctly. Maybe I'm misremembering the order of the film, but I think he still has medicine by the time he's fired from his job. And that night, that's the night where he kills the 3 men on the train. I want to say that he still had some medicine at that point. So
there's a scene where he's holding 3 of them, but they're empty.
Yeah.
And I think that came around there,
I
but
think
I don't
that's-
know
I
if
think
he
that's
had
after.
any medication.
So I don't know. I don't think you...
No. He got fired before they cut off the medication before he got fired.
Okay. So he was
And
running
that's
out
kind
by
of
that
where everything
point.
starts to go
Yeah,
downhill.
that's the
really.
moment where like it starts to change.
Right.
And that's the thing where like if it's not real, is that like where they just like, hey, we're gonna lower your medication you're taking, and maybe
Mhm.
that's like because you gotta like start thinking about like
references, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But he
I-
feels like
or-
they just took his
yeah,
medication
or they're like,
away
hey, we're
'cause it's not
switching
strong.
doctors, and so his
I
mind's
think
like,
on,
I'm
I
losing
think
my
on one
medication.
hand that's not really something I would agree with, just because like that'd be like saying, well, people who are on medication could potentially do that if they're not on it. Like I think that's kind of a tricky uphill, I guess. Like, how do you really argue that? I would say no. I would say that he created himself. Like, he could have tried to get help somewhere else, and he didn't. Like, I don't know. Like that's tough. Like, that's a tough question, and I think
Because I think it relates back to your real question on mental illness is, do we as a society need to be reaching out to people with this
Right.
and doing everything we can?
I think
cutting
this
these programs.
I think this movie's gonna raise more awareness for it. Like, on like, how do we sympathize with this? How do we look into this more than we do into just, oh, we'll lock these people up and it's not a big deal. Like,
yeah, of making sure we're reintroducing them to society instead of just being like
just throw them out there, whatever.
yeah. Or you're throwing them into like jail or
Right. Like,
asylums. Being like,
I
hey,
think
we
the
need
movie.
to like work through these real
I think the
problems.
movie is making people more sympathetic to issues that people choose to ignore.
Yeah.
Kind of like what he said at the end. You would walk over me if I was lying in the street dying because, well, he's not all there. He's not worth anything to society, whatever. Like, we try to justify, like, who's valuable and who's not. Like, I think that there's two dual messages in this film where it's like, this person's clearly on edge. They're not okay. We don't need to care about them. And then we have the people who are like, no, we should, because this is the type of thing that these people are capable of doing when they're not properly taken care of. I don't know. Like, that's a tricky question, Ryan. That's probably one of the more deep questions I think we've tried to answer on this show.
I don't think there is just a clear answer for us to be able to
Yeah.
give, and so. But I think
Like,
it is one of those things that like, I think that's part of the movie is bringing awareness to it.
Right. I like I've said it. I think 3 times now. Thought-provoking film.
Yeah.
Like-
Regardless of if you like the movie or not,
Right.
it does raise questions.
It
on-
raises questions and
Yeah.
it gets you thinking, and I think that's the most important thing about this movie. Regardless of, oh, I like Batman, I like Joker, like I said, you could take all of that out and tweak the film in some areas and make essentially the same movie.
There's a lot of statements that you can look at.
Right.
Like, even when we were talking about the newspaper.
Yeah. The
Uh,
media like response to those type of things.
So what I was saying was like the newspaper, some of them, and whatever, if it's his mind saying that or if it actually was like, but you have two complete opposite views.
I mean, like,
And it's kind of like how we see newspapers now.
Mhm.
It's like it's not necessarily just the facts. It's the reporting of that.
it's opinions.
It's
Yeah.
more of an opinion
Yeah.
kind of thing. And so, I mean, there's a lot of connections that you can make to the real
Mhm.
world, and I mean, it's good that people are recognizing that there are things, but see, when you live in the world, you never realize that there's a lot of those problems sometimes. But when you look at it from a different perspective into a movie, you're able to recognize those problems because you're analyzing the thing that you're not part of. So sometimes it's a good reflection piece.
Yeah, I'll give my closing spoiler thing thoughts, I guess. Overall, I do think I'm glad the movie had the Batman stuff, so it doesn't glorify the violence, so it doesn't cause that rise up. And that sounds stupid, but if it glorified the violence and it glorified, hey, he was right. He went back and killed people who wronged him in his past.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, well, he did, but he's in jail, or he's gonna be defeated one day.
Yeah.
One day he will not get away with this, and so all your sins, all your problems, regardless of mental health or not, will come back, and there will be consequences.
Yeah.
That's why for me I liked the Batman stuff, and that'd be my closing spoiler thoughts on it.
Yeah. I can't really think
Do
of
you
any.
guys have any ideas on who actually killed the Wayne family? Or that one person that came
I think it's
out?
Joe Chill.
I would say, yeah. There's no reason to really change that.
Yeah, I think it's Well, and like the Keaton Batman,
In the
it's the same. It's Joe, but he works for Joker.
well, actually, no. I always thought no, it was Joker that kills him.
Oh, is
And-
it? I can't-
Yeah,
I
because
can't-
he says have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? And then he says that to Bruce later in the movie, and that causes him to like remember
Yeah.
like his parents'
There's
killer.
continuities have had Joe work for Joker, been like under Joker.
Right. There's been so many different tellings of that story.
Yeah, and so like
And
I think it's him. I just think they're gonna
I was actually gonna
change
say-
to instead of just being a robbery.
This is the one time in like a Batman or comic book movie where I'm okay with them referring to the murder of the Waynes after like
Well-
20, 30 different times.
Yeah,
now.
I mean like the first time, of course, and then
right, like the
others,
first
yeah.
time, but like every movie since then where they've had Batman, they've always shown his parents died. I'm like, we get it. Bruce Wayne's parents died. But I agree with you with what you said completely about like showing that like reminds us that hey, this is a comic book movie
Yeah,
and this character gets his comeuppance. You just don't see it in this movie.
and maybe never see it. We
Right.
may never see it, but
Right, but like
because I don't.
but like we know the Batman mythos.
Yeah.
Like
But
and that's the major thing here. Like they took a mental health awareness thing and they made a Batman film out of it.
yeah,
Like, and that to me is the most important thing. They took a topic that people are uncomfortable with and put it in a movie that they knew people were going to see, I think, to get people to talk about the issue at hand.
and this is such an interesting thing because you talk about the whole mental deal, but I mean, literally the last, or you go back to the Heath Ledger Joker,
Mhm.
Dark Knight, when all the shooting, the shooting happened and all that. So,
well, you talking about the shooter because of Joker?
well, I'm not saying it was because of Joker, but I'm just saying, like, with the whole intensity of people not wanting to see the Dark Knight after the shooting
Yeah.
and all that. I
Yeah.
think it's interesting how that's all, kind of semi-connected with the
Mhm.
violence and stuff, so, and how they kind of point out to more of a mental health awareness,
Mhm.
whereas obviously none of the other Joker movies have done that, so. But, other than that, it's really all I got.
Yeah, that's all we got.
Yeah,
So thanks for listening.
Yeah, sorry, it sounds like it's kind of ending on a somber note. Do
One
we
day
have
we'll
any-
release some what happened.
Do we have any upcoming stuff that we want to kind of like talk about? Like, what do you like have planned for next week or anything? Or?
El Camino will be next week. We'll have
Yeah.
a long. Me and you will. I guess we'll have a long discussion about that since Ryan hates Breaking Bad.
I don't hate
Well, anyway,
I never
that's
said anything bad about Breaking
this
Bad.
has been Nothing Coherent. I'm Zach.
You already said you were at the beginning of the podcast.
Why are you reintroducing yourself, dude?
I'm
Yeah.
reintroducing myself to try to end it on a better note than just talking about sad things.
Da, 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 da.
That's life. Oh,
Okay. Well,
I don't know how to end it after.
Yeah, and after that, what to do?
what a show. Goodbye, fellas.